and welcome to my channel. In case you are new here, my name is Jennifer Diamond and I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach living a whole food, plant-exclusive, SOFAs-free, gluten-free lifestyle for health and well-being. And it literally gave me my life back, and I know it can help you with yours too. So today's live is one I am so excited to share with you because we're going to be talking about a topic that so many people struggle with, which is sleep, but not just sleep. Okay, we're going to talk about like the deep, restorative sleep, the kind where you're supposed to wake up and be energized and light and fully alive. And I am very, very excited to welcome my friend and my guest, Kiko Miwa, back to the show. She's joining us all the way from Kyoto, Japan. Kiko is such an amazing, beautiful soul, and she's been living a high raw vegan lifestyle for nearly 2 decades and has a wonderful perspective on connection between what we eat, how we sleep, and how we heal. So she's going to be sharing how switching to high raw plant foods transformed her life, and that includes her sleep. Welcome, Kiko. So good to have you here.
Hi, Jennifer, and thank you so much for inviting me back to your channel. It's such an honor, and thank you so much.
Oh, of course. I'm so excited that you wanted to come back, and I'm super glad to have you anytime. I did want to just check the chat and welcome people. Hi, Jill. Jill is in the chat, and I see Lisa is here. Welcome, everybody. And those of you that are not in the chat, just know we want to welcome you. And anytime you have a question or you just want to, share a comment, go ahead and put it in the chat and we will get to it. And so anyways, Kiko, this is such an important conversation, I think, because sleep is so much more than just resting our bodies, because it's the time that our bodies are actually working to recover and clean out and heal. And you've got some ideas that I had never heard before or tried. And that's why we thought, okay, we'll get on here. And but before we get into that, I'm wondering, for people that don't know you, I'd love, if it's okay, to ask you to share a little bit about your story.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So my name is Kiko. I was born and raised here in Japan, but I ran away from Japan and explored my world when I was at 20. And I spent almost 20 years outside of Japan, and now I'm back in Japan. I have been, just like Jennifer mentioned, I have been on a high raw vegan diet for over 20 years, but since this year, I have been fully raw, and that's thanks to starting to write my new book, Namado, and then being part of the raw vegan bundle that happens once a year, and having a beautiful friend like Jennifer that just continued to inspire me to be on this path. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this subject of sleep, because when I became raw vegan over 20 years ago, I felt so amazing that I felt like I just needed 3-4 hours of sleep every day. And I did feel amazing. So I would go to sleep at midnight, and then I would be completely awake and so energetic at 4 o'clock. And I'll be cleaning up my apartments, and I was feeling so good. That continued for a little bit. And then later, I realized it was not enough. This is one of the dangerous message some of the influencers are sharing, that if you do it right, you don't need blah blah blah. And then sleep was one of it. And then that was over 20 years ago. People were preaching on, if you stay on this clean diet, you don't need many things that people, general people need. So I got trapped into that, and later I realized that seven depends on the person. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is essential. So yeah, do you have any question? Maybe I shouldn't
Yeah,
speak speaking
no,
too much.
that's amazing. And you're right, 6 to 8 hours. And I understand that, like between the hours of 11 and 2 in the morning, 11 and p.m. and 2 in the morning, that's where we're really getting the deepest REM sleep. That's where our bodies are cleaning out. And I think of it as like organizing your file folder, right? And just getting things cleaned up and refreshed and ready. And when we don't get enough sleep, I understand that lack. Okay, maybe I only got 4 hours, right? And so if I was supposed to get minimum 6, I'm missing 2 hours, and then it doesn't. When you go to bed the next day, if you miss another 2 hours, then you're behind 4 hours, and it just builds on it,
Mm,
and then you or if you're not getting the deep sleep, then you can have trouble. So let me ask you, so take us back to what was your sleep like, either before you found the raw food style, or when you weren't having really good sleep. Like, can you explain what that was like for you?
sure. So before going raw, always thought that I slept well. I was kind of person that I can sleep anywhere, but I had nightmares almost every single day, like a very dark nightmares every single days. And it just became a norm. And when I was on to this raw vegan journey, I started to notice that my dreams were brighter and lighter, and my nightmares started to disappear. So that was really interesting. And one of the most beautiful dreams that I had was like beautiful rainbow color butterflies going dancing in a room. And
Oh.
that was one of my vivid dream after becoming raw. And I've done a lot of detox, and yeah, I've shared that with my friend in New York, Hugo, who introduced me to this raw vegan diet. And he shared the same story that, yeah, it's true that when you're on raw vegan diet and a cleaner diet, your dream tends to be more vivid and beautiful. And more than that, I actually slept so deep that you know even 4 hours of sleep, I felt it was just enough for me, because I wasn't going through this cycle of sleep, REM, and I just felt like I had a very intense 4 hours of sleep that it was just enough. um yeah.
Wow. Okay. And I know who you're talking about, because if anyone is interested to get your book, if they haven't already through any of the bundles, you share about your friend from New York. Is Hugo, right?
Yes.
And show pictures, and it's a wonderful part of your journey. And so you can also learn about that. And I think you have your book for sale on your website, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
I have a website, Nama, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, A as in Apple, dot O V as in Victor, Victory, and H. It's a short one. Yeah.
yeah, okay, and we'll see if we can maybe put it on the screen, if we can.
Thank
Um,
you.
but yeah, so you were sharing about, you had these reoccurring nightmares, and then
Mhm.
when you changed the food, and then it shifted into these beautiful dreams. So, not to tell us details about the dream when it wasn't good, but can you describe, like, what it felt like? And
Mhm.
like, would you wake up, you're not refreshed, or like, what were you feeling like? Maybe some people are experiencing that. And then
Mhm.
also, what do you think was causing you that transformation? that made it go from however you were feeling to this? I mean, is it really the food? You tell us for your experience.
Oh, thank you. Such a great questions. Thank you so much for that great questions. Before when I wake up, it was a norm to kind of be groggy and just heavy feeling, and it takes time to wake up. And yeah, I'm just getting used to with this high energetic way, feeling good all the time, that I forget how it was. But now that you ask me this question, I do remember a huge difference when I became raw, that I would just wake up like, woohoo! Day is starting. I'm just ready to dance and get up and conquer the world. And that was just that became the norm, being a raw vegan, being on this raw vegan diet. And yeah, so that's why I felt so energetic, and I was feeling so good to just clean up the whole room as soon as I wake up.
Yeah. So was that gradual, or was that like immediately? Like, how long were you doing the change in your food before you realized that you were ready to, conquer the world?
Yeah, it came in different stages. So I was quite sick when I started raw vegan diet. So that feeling, I was like, wow, I feel so good. I almost felt like that way almost immediately. Maybe within few days, I felt really good. And then maybe within a week, I was feeling that way of like, wow, I'm feeling great in the morning or throughout the day. But, it wasn't always linear, right? There were some ups and downs that I was going through. So I wouldn't say it was always that way. And I have to admit, even now, if I don't pay attention to certain things, I could wake up groggy, or it could be change of season, or what might be, I might have eaten something. Well, we'll go into the food part. But yeah, I want to let you know that I'm I might not necessarily wake up ready to dance right away.
Yeah, and I think that that's with anything, right? Maybe you didn't go to bed as early as you wanted. I mean, for me, that's what happens sometimes. We've been to potluck parties, and then we get home a little later, and my sleep starts a little later. It takes me, longer, and so then I get a little off. So speaking a little bit about food, I know we haven't gotten into it, but how connected do you believe the digestion is and like the true sleep? Do you think that there's a connection between our digestion and getting that deep sleep?
Yeah, so that's yeah, thanks for that question, because I wanted to mention that. Later I realized that nightmare was actually coming from indigestion. So before, I was eating, I was living in America. Usually I would eat out with my friends, after work. I had a very demanding work as a consultant, living in New York. And, often I would just go out with my friends, and dinner usually tend to be heavy when you go out. And yeah, I realized that every time I eat something heavy, or I eat out, I tend to have a nightmare, or I tend to have a light sleep. So it was very interesting that how it was connected. Why didn't anyone tell me this? It's like it makes sense in a way, because during the sleep, 6 hours, 8 hours, or 9 hours that you're sleeping, that's the only time that your organs can calmly work on whatever that they need to work on to process and detox, right? Because detox is happening every day, especially during the night.
Absolutely. And I know for myself, even if I fall asleep, I don't always stay asleep. And, so I feel like, okay, is that because something is going on? Sometimes it's because I ate later than I wanted to. and I know you recommended in your book not eating for at least 3 hours before bed. I'm wondering what kind of a difference did that make for you? Because I've noticed trying to do that it makes a difference for me. And even sometimes I will like feel like the food is not it's not digested. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, because don't you want that to happen before you go to sleep, right? Or you tell me.
Yeah, that's great. I'm actually curious. Like so you have stopped eating 3 hours before going to sleep, Jennifer?
Well, I try, I mean, I use that as loosely. But I thought that you recommended that. But at any rate, I try to eat earlier, 3 to 4 hours. Sometimes I get like I was showing you. I made this beautiful salad right for my lunch
Oh,
today,
beautiful.
and I didn't get to eat it yet. So by the time, when we're done, I will have that. And then I will just, that'll be it. Sometimes I try to eat like late afternoon, but it doesn't happen that way. But I find that if I eat too close to bed, then I can wake up and I feel like I can still feel that the food is trying to digest still, or if I, burp a little bit, or
Mm,
I just not feeling right, or I'll just
yeah.
feel, oh my gosh, why didn't I eat earlier? So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what I do, so I usually start with maybe I can share what I eat in a day.
yes, I was going to ask you please. Yes, this is
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah, so I usually start with seasonal fruit. So now it's a melon season. Japanese melon is amazing. It's
Oh,
so
lucky
good.
me. Oh, so lucky.
Yeah, so we just my husband and I we just finished a huge juicy and sweet melon, and then I might add like kiwis or whatever is in season or mangoes. Then I would have a smoothie, green smoothies. So today I'm having a smoothies that's inspired by Jennifer, zucchini, frozen American cherry, and then banana, kale, and then mulberries from my garden. It's so I added frozen strawberries as well. So good. So usually
Did
I
you put
have
any liquid in there at all, or just the
yeah,
fruit? Oh,
I just added maybe half a cup of water.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Yum.
it. 1 cup maybe. Yeah. So I usually have a big bowl of or yeah cup of smoothie. Then I have a chia berry parfait. That's in my Namado book. The recipe is in my Namado book. And that recipe is really, honestly, my go-to, and I have to have it. I
And
have to have
I'm sorry, that's a chia pudding, did you say? Okay.
exactly chia pudding, but I do it in a different way than most people do. So yeah, please take a look at my recipe on my book. It's my husband and I, we eat it every single day, and it's amazing. We never get tired of it. We love it. We crave it, and it's a great way to include high omega-3 fatty acids. Because I feel like if I don't pay attention, we are naturally high on omega-6 or omega-9. So that's usually what I have. And then we have a big bowl of salad, just like that beautiful bowl of salad. And then, yeah, my God, that's gorgeous. Yes. What
So
kind
you
of
put
dressing are you going to add? Are you
Do you
going to
know,
eat?
I don't know, because I was thinking that maybe I would just do a little either apple cider vinegar or some fresh lemon, and then I have fruit in here. So I have orange and some peach and part of an apple that I didn't finish. And sometimes the
Mm.
fruit really acts for me as the dressing. So
Mm.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah, definitely. That's beautiful. I love that. So for me, big bowl of salad with walnut pate. So walnut
Ooh.
pate is also something I have like, and my husband and I always have every day. And that's so chia berry parfait and walnut pate. Those two recipe we never get bored of. So we do change the different spices sometime, but those two recipe is in my book. So I would do something very simple, what you have prepared, Jennifer, and I would add the walnut pate, and
Okay.
that's so satisfying. And then that's I would eat that around maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
Then, yeah, then if I'm hungry, I might eat more chia berry parfait, chia pudding that you can call it, and I might eat some fruits. But I stop at 6. I stop eating. I don't eat anything after 6 o'clock,
Oh,
and
wow.
that makes a huge difference. And sometimes, if I feel like I really want to eat something, I would just eat kiwi, 1, 2 kiwis or 3 kiwis, depending on how I feel. That's after 6 o'clock. But I try to adjust my day so that I eat my heavy meal by 3 o'clock or so. Then,
And so,
I can just move back. Yeah.
yeah. And so if your last bit of food is usually by 6 o'clock, what time do you normally go to bed? How many hours do you usually have between the last time you're eating and going to bed?
Yeah, I'm trying to go to sleep by 9 o'clock, but usually by 10 to 11. Yeah, but again, how do I say it? So yeah, it's important that everyone say that you should finish eating 3 to 4 hours or 2 to 4 hours window before going to sleep, right? But let's say if you were to eat like a steak or something very, very heavy at 6 o'clock, that will be sitting on your stomach for, is it 24 hours to digest meat? I don't
I,
eat
I,
meat, so I don't.
I believe so. And if it's not exactly that, it's definitely takes a lot longer for it to
Mm.
break down and process. Yes, especially when the evening comes. Don't you believe that? When our circadian rhythm, when it gets at nighttime, the body slows down digestion because it's getting ready to go to bed.
Yes, yes. So I've noticed actually just recently I tried to do something different, meaning so I just focus on fruit during the day, and when I'm done with fruit, I eat salad. This was Chris Kendall was saying that, uh, raw vegan, mostly fruitarian style. So he just eats fruits until he doesn't want to eat anything sweet. Then he will eat salad. But the difference is that he includes a lot of greens in his smoothies. So anyway, I wanted to give it a try. I tried it. And because in my salad, I add that walnut pate, which is heavier, right? That's one of the biggest, like highest calories that I would take during the day. And then I've noticed that even if I were to stop eating at 6 p.m. with that kind of salad, I felt bloated or I couldn't sleep well. So I'm back to how I used to eat, which is, I would have that big salad by 3, latest 4 p.m. Then I would shift back to fruits if I'm still hungry.
So some of the foods that you avoid are the like the walnut pate that you shared, which is a more of a nuts based. And so that's is there anything else that you would completely try to avoid in the evening that you noticed affected your sleep?
Well, so already I'm fully raw vegan since this year, January. And then I'm not dogmatic, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to eat cooked food, but that definitely helps. So I don't eat, I don't take any processed oil. I don't take any processed sugar. I try to take everything in a whole plant base. And I try to focus on omega-3 fatty acids. That seems to help me a lot for inflammation. So I don't take cashews. Almonds I hardly take because for some reason if I eat almonds, I would have some kind of inflammation going on. So yeah,
Wow.
Brazil nuts I add into my smoothies, so that seems to work.
Yeah. Are there any kind of meals that you haven't already said or snacks that you think actually support peaceful sleeps and nights?
Supports. Honestly, it's omega-3 fatty acids that really help me for not getting bloated. Also, that's something interesting is that, the smoothies, I used to make like 3 times bigger, maybe 4 times bigger smoothies than this. And green smoothies in the morning, thinking that this is the best thing for my body. But my body couldn't handle that much of smoothies, and I ended up getting bloated. So it comes down to checking checking to see how you feel, because it's I feel like as a human being, it's so easy to get dogmatic of, oh, we have to eat this, oh no, this is the only way, this is the only way of cure. And then we stop listening to ourselves. How do we feel? Because you cannot be on this detox mode forever. That's what I was, for the longest period of time. So
Do
yeah, I
you
hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. So I'm thinking about like myself.
Mhm.
Um, I need to I need to be full and satiated, right? And, I do eat a lot of raw. I'm not 100%. I do enjoy cooked food at this point. I'm playing around with the idea of, seeing as I learn more about it, how it affects me. But I noticed you didn't really talk about lentils or any kind of beans or legumes. And I know because I'm doing it right here. Yeah, I know you can sprout them, and that's considered raw. Do you ever bring those into your diet? And if so, are you concerned about where you would put that in reference to how you sleep?
Okay, so I am doing broccoli sprouts in my
Oh,
salad, or I might add it in my smoothies. But to be honest, I don't really like the taste, because when I make it, I don't know, it doesn't come out quite right. Maybe I'm not doing it right. But like I've done lentil sprouts,
oh, you have.
and mung bean sprouts. I've done quite a few, like chickpea sprouts. But I don't know, it just kind of tastes strange to me. So I want to include that into like making patties. I think that would cover the kind of like there's this taste that I don't quite like, which is like a greenish kind. Greenish. It's like in Japanese we call it. It tastes like blue, blue. I don't know. It doesn't translate well into English, but it has that kind of edge that I don't quite like. So
So
I do
it's
enjoy.
a flavor that you find that comes from the sprouted lentils or whatever kind of,
Mm,
and so you don't care for that. But I mean, a lot of people think that that's where we get, higher calories and,
mm,
of course, irons and proteins and stuff. Is that a concern of yours?
no.
No. Okay. See, so that's what's really great about talking about this, because everybody has a different effect, right? And
Mm.
for you, this is how it works for you. Now, do you notice a connection between your dreams, like how light or heavy? Okay, so do you notice a difference or a connection between your dreams based on if you eat a heavy or a light meal in the evenings, your last meal? That's 6 o'clock, no later than 6 o'clock.
Yeah. So, well, as I mentioned, I like eating something juicy in the morning, and I like making green smoothies. I do notice the difference. Like I can so easily be on a fruit-based diet, meaning I don't, smoothies like this, you know, I don't have to add kale, but I do notice if I do add kale, uh, in a long term, I do notice the difference. So I like adding greens. And yeah, like I mentioned, for walnut pate, it's heavy for me. So I would, ideally, I would like to start eating around 2, 3 and finish eating by 4. Yeah. So
Oh,
usually, generally speaking, by 3, I would be done with that heaviest meal. Yeah, and then that makes a huge difference. If I eat it later, I would have, I don't have a deeper sleep. I might be bloated, so I might have to go to toilet during the night, and I hate waking up during the night. I can't go back to sleep right away, but it's just somehow disturbs my sleep.
yes.
So yeah, I try to I pay attention to how I feel after. How do I feel? Am I bloated? But at the same time, being fully raw vegan, I have to make sure that I get enough calories during the day. So that's why, this is 8:30 in the morning in Japan. So even during the interview, I like to have my morning smoothies, and after 6 p.m. I wouldn't touch anything, right? So yeah, I want to make sure that I get enough calories in the morning than later in the evening.
And you find that that really affects your sleep. You know, what's interesting, like for me, and even for my husband, we get really busy in the day. And then we realize, oh my gosh, it's like late in the day and we didn't eat, enough. And then, that's not a good thing. So being aware of what works for you and making sure that you have everything earlier, I think, is what works for you that you're sharing and helps you with sleep. Now, I just want to ask you about how hydration works, especially for people that are 100% raw or high raw. How does that play into all of this? How does that affect the sleep? Making sure that you have enough hydration with plenty of water. And I mean, I
Mm.
get up in the middle of the night and I have to go to the bathroom at least, most nights at least once. And so how do you balance that? Let me ask that.
So it depends. Like right now in Kyoto, it's very hot. It's getting really hot. So I'm drinking quite a bit. I don't know. I don't really count, but I do notice that if I don't, so I always have big glass of water next to me during in the morning interview, because if I don't have it in front of me, I tend to forget. And I stopped drinking around the same time, like maybe 7 by 7 o'clock. I don't drink anymore,
Oh,
uh, because I don't. Yeah, I feel like if I drink later than 7 p.m., it would I would want to
it'll,
use the bathroom.
okay.
So yeah, I don't like feeling thirsty. So my trick is that I drink enough water during the day. And I think the difference is, for me, I just sip during the day. I don't just gulp when I'm feeling thirsty. I just kind of make sure that my mouth is moist all the time. So having a glass of water in front of me, it helps a lot. And I try to take as much water as possible during the day. So
I
when
love
I
that.
wake up in the morning, I would have uh, like this much. I don't know how, maybe is that 3 cups or 2.5 cups?
Yeah, it looks larger than a standard glass there. So
Yeah, maybe a liter of water. I
yeah,
drink with lemon juice, and then I would eat fruits or smoothies, and that makes a huge difference for me. And this, I'm just sharing. I'm definitely not an expert of getting a most quality of sleep, but I'm just sharing what I have experienced, and I hope that just inspires people. And
absolutely.
yeah, at the end of the day, we all have to listen to our body, or what our body is asking for us to, consume.
Yes, yes. And I think that's all really great information. And I'm guessing that it probably doesn't surprise too many people, including myself, that there is a direct relationship between what we choose to eat, when we're eating it, and then the quality of sleep that you get. And, I'll tell you, I have tried all kinds of different things to get better, deeper sleep, and I can share that later. Especially the restorative sleep. But one thing that I've never tried, I never heard of, that I would love to talk to you about is something that you brought up to me, and that is color therapy. So, what is color therapy for those, including myself, who have never heard of that before?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, when someone say color therapy, I kind of back off because I'm like, I don't know, they're just going into the spiritual thing. But uh, but I have been certified for Sujok therapy. Sujok was created by this Indian guy, and I've learned it when I was living in France. So I took a 1 week intensive course of Sujok, and Sujok is like it. It's a mix of acupuncture. So, they teach acupuncture points of hands and different points of our body. And one of the exercise that I have learned, it's called color therapy. And you use this highlighter. I like this one. And yeah, you put it, so in Sujok, sorry, this is just my makeup. So don't be alarmed, this is red. So we in Sujok, this is head. This is head, and this is our organ part. This is our, leg part. And so we have lots of head. So five, well, lots. There are 5 heads in our hand. And they said that one of the reasons people can't have a restful, deep sleep is that there's so much going on in our head. And that's one of the reasons they said to avoid stimulant things right before going to sleep. So, winding down before going to sleep, 2-3 hours before you sort of kind of, go into relax mode, and you do meditation, or do maybe breathing exercise, all that to calm our body, right? Especially nowadays where we are, this period of time, we are living in a beautiful period of time. We have so much information out there for free. So if you're not mindful, head is like, oh, it's too much. And when you try to go to sleep, you can't calm your mind.
Too much
So
stimulation, I guess. Too much stimulation
yeah,
during the day. Yeah.
yeah. So they said one of the way to calm our mind is put blue highlight on top of our finger.
Oh, I'm going to do it with you. I got my blue highlight. Okay, let me see if I'm going to do it right. Like right here on the finger.
Yeah, just above the fingernail.
Okay, I want to color too. Let's try this. Like, look, did I do okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Anybody else that wants to grab a highlighter if you have it and want to do it with us, go ahead.
so. This is our face.
Oh, okay. I'm
You,
going to
you
do.
don't need, you don't
I
do
do.
that.
No, don't make a face. Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it's just to show that that's how Sujok sees, right?
Okay.
So this is the back of our head. So this part is our nail. So
Okay.
what's cooling down is this part, this top part.
Mm.
So I hope you're getting what I'm
Yes, I
saying?
totally am following you. Yes, the
Okay.
blue part is mimicking the top part, and the nail is the back, and this soft part that you drew the face is our face. So yes, I follow.
That's right. You got it. Okay. So during the night, because this is, you can wash it off, but it's kind of pain the neck to wash it off, and it shows. So what my teacher told me is that told us, do it with your toes, so no one usually sees it. So you do the same thing with your toenail. I mean toe fingers, and you just color every finger, toe,
The
toes.
tops there. Now, is it the same? So when I think of my feet, my nail is going to be pointing up. Is that still considered the back?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It's exactly the same. Yeah, so it will be like this, right? And then you will be coloring all this,
got it. All the toes on both feet.
right? Both feet.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, it should work with one, but why not all, right? To
Okay. Yes.
completely
Yes.
shut. And it,
Okay.
you know, I didn't believe it, and it's funny. It works really amazing because I share this was when I was living in France, and I had many friends who were aged women, so like 70s and above, and those ladies were having issues having a deep, restful, beautiful sleep. And so when I took this course, and I said, well, let me try with those ladies, and every one of them, the most skeptical one came back saying that, Kiko, I don't know what it is. It worked. I slept so well, and it's been such a long time I didn't sleep as well as this. So
Wow. Okay. Um, so how does it work to do you understand how it works to get us to sleep? And you only said you only use the blue one.
yeah, so
Like
in
how does it
color,
work? So you put it on there and then what is the body how does it work to produce better sleep?
yeah, so that's why this is called part of color therapy. Blue is the cooling color, right? When so it's somehow relax our nerve system, and that's one of the reason people say that never to use the red walls in your bedroom, because that's too stimulating when for your bedroom. So yeah, it's apparently in color therapy, blue is the cooling effect. So when you have too much thing going on, the blue color is supposed to help your nerve system cool down. And I'm not speaking. I think if you look into color therapy, you can find out more. What I'm interested is it just works. And
Okay. Yeah. And so that's really interesting. And it makes sense, right? I know that when I've gone to different studios to practice yoga, um, there's a lot of either artwork or sometimes the rooms are painted with certain colors that are supposed to help. Bring color really does help. I know.
Mhm.
I'll tell you really quickly. When I was a little girl, probably about 5 or 6 years old, and I was visiting my father. My parents were divorced. And when I was gone for the weekend, my mother decided to surprise me and paint my room. So when I got back, she says, I'm so excited. I did this surprise for you. Let me show you. I mean, I remember this so well. And she brings me into the room, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it was this brightest yellow ever. I felt like somebody put me in this room with a light, and I just said, oh, even at that age, I still remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is so bright. And she was so excited. So I just never, shared that. I thought it was too bright. But goes to show you that color can really affect us. So I think that really makes sense about the blue color. So thanks for letting me
Yeah,
share that.
yeah. And so you haven't tried it, Jennifer, yet, right? Have you?
I got the markers, or I shouldn't call it a marker. I got the highlighter today. I was going to try it last night and I was frantically looking and we didn't have any. And so I got it today. So I'm going to do it this evening. I'm going to do it tonight. And I know that you were saying that, you'll have to share, like, if people are concerned about using this, there are other kinds of skin, and maybe you can share like the different, what is the name of the one that's safe to use on your skin and stuff?
Yeah. So my husband and I did the research. He's more, he has this scientific mind that he got into make sure that this is, safe. This marker, it's just like a watercolor painting that I use for my art on the paper. It's not meant to be for body, but when I checked the ingredients, it seems to be okay. So if someone is more sensitive and concerned, definitely, I think there's a body color art, like you can maybe search on the internet. Yeah, so
Yeah, I looked for body color art, and I just ran over to Walmart, which is close to us, and so I didn't have enough time. But I thought, well, I'm going to try it this, and of course, if it's something that I decide to try regularly, maybe I would order a
mhm.
different kind. But I wanted to share that. And okay, so just curious, like, how often do you personally practice using this kind of method?
Okay, so thankfully I haven't been using this for a long. I don't know last time I had to use this because I have been getting a really good sleep. But and I also want to mention that this is just uh can you say like a scotch tape method? This is not for long term. This is like,
Oh,
try it out because if this works, maybe it's because you have too much going on in your head that you might need to reconsider, winding down before going to sleep, or just consume less information, because if you are not careful enough, you can be caught up with something that you might not want to be consuming. It's just everything affects. Like a few days ago, I was I had quite a few things to get done, and somehow I got trapped into internet information and started to watch something that I usually don't watch. And that was like maybe 2 hours or maybe even 1 hour before going to sleep. And sure enough, I had a nightmare that night. so,
oh.
so
So other practices are really important. And I love
mm,
how you are sharing about, take the time to start your bedtime practice earlier. I know so many of us, I mean, for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go to bed. It's late or whatever. And then, I don't have that time to really relax, like you were saying. And
mm.
so that's a good reminder. Okay, I have a question about this. So, I might be being too literal, but I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to put this on the tops of the toes. Do I now keep the toes out of the blanket in this? I mean, is there any, like, does it matter the position, or is some light or something supposed to be on it? Like, I don't
Uh,
know.
Yeah, no, yeah, just make sure that it's dry enough to before going to sleep, because you might stain your beautiful blanket, whatever. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, you usually. So I used to use this when I was living in France, because when I lived in Paris for 4 years, and for some reason, my body was, I don't know, my body was asking a lot of sleep, but I wasn't getting deep sleep. So when I learned this sujok, I use this a lot, a lot, and it seems to work really well. But for long term, I don't think this. I don't know. you have to search what the root cause is, because this is just band-aid over something that
Mm.
you need to focus on. But because sleep, every night sleep is so important, I like to share this method that you can change. Because once you have that nice and deep sleep that you haven't got for a while, you're more motivated to pay attention during the day, right? So that's one of the things that it's because when I talk about fully raw, like people are just scared that, like, I can't do that. So this is something fun that I like to share.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm wondering, anyone watching in the chat, I would love to hear, have you guys heard of this or tried it before? Or if you haven't, what do you think? And if you're having trouble sleeping, like, would you give this a try? So we'll check back in the chat. But I just want to share, as I was navigating my small fiber neuropathy and my other problems, I had that constant neurological sensations and buzzings. And I had low iron and high cholesterol, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, I growth tumors, sinus, all this kind of stuff. Everything. I tried everything I could to give my body the rest that it was begging for. And I didn't know about this, but if you want, I can share some of the things that I've tried, and it 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 helped. But what ultimately helped was the change of the food, was the biggest thing, because if you've ever heard of Wim Hof, uh, gentleman, he teaches a breathing technique where you kind of hyperventilate, and then you get this tingling. You have to lay down and do it. You don't want to fall over. But I tried that, and I did cold water plunges in our swimming pool when it was winter time, and I would time it. We would stay in the pool for 10 minutes, and I was icy cold, and because I heard that helps, with the cell rejuvenation and resetting my circadian rhythm. I would get up in the morning and I would go outside to watch the sun rise with my bare feet in the ground and all this kind of grounding and things. And then I was doing, like you said, I was doing, guided meditation, and I started drawing, and I'm not an artist, so it was not like good pictures. But, and I removed all my electronics from my room, the EMFs. We turned off the Wi-Fi overnight, and actually we got a timer and set the timer so it would go off and then it would come back on, so we didn't have to remember. Blackout curtains. I had a white noise air purifier. And then the biggest thing was we didn't turn the lights on when I was healing. So when the sun went down, the dinner, first of all, that was really helpful because I didn't want to eat in the dark. So I would eat and make sure that we had the dishes done or whatever, before it was pitch dark. Because when the sun went down, that whatever light was in the house, that was it. And then we would light candles, and there was no TV. I was we did this for probably over, what would you say, over a year? Yeah. And because I was trying to get my circadian rhythm in sync with what it's supposed to be. Like if you were sleeping outside or you were living outside, the body shuts down and slows down based on where we are in the day. So I was trying all these things, and I even, changed my water filter and all this stuff. But when I changed my food and the inflammation from the inside went down, it really helped all these things I was doing from the outside. So I wanted to hear that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And it comes down to lifestyle. It's not just a week of detox or one day of band-aid. Although this is fun, and sometime when, even with my husband, if he's having issue or if I'm having issue sleeping, it helps just for one day or 2 days. But yeah, we would have to look into our lifestyle.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, as you're saying that, if my husband, I'm thinking, that would be fun. Like, okay, honey, you do my toes, I'll do yours. Because that's a time to connect, right? And, get away from the screens, and a kind of fun thing. I would do that.
Yeah, I would love to do. I haven't done the candle lights, but that sounds so romantic and fun. I might do that.
Yeah, we would try to play a board game. Like, I love backgammon, if you're familiar with it, or any kind of game like that. And we're like, okay, this isn't going to work because I can't see, I can't see the board. So, but it really did also offer us an opportunity to talk with each other, to connect, because there's nothing to do. We had nothing turned on, not even the lights. And so we're sitting in the dark, basically unwinding from the day. And it was a great opportunity for us to be like connecting better with each other.
Mm,
So, you could take
yeah.
a lot of things from this experience. And
Mm. I like it though that it comes down to our lifestyle, and how we eat. Because, everyone eat,
we
two,
have to
three
eat.
times a day. And what we put in our body, it's, it would, you would feel the difference. And you have to be patient, because you might feel great for, depending on the people. Some people might go through some detox problem, and they might have headache, uh,
Mm.
especially for people who drinks coffee, or
Oh yeah.
even, yeah, like my husband at some point, he started to have a migraine. And then we realized there was a tea shop that we liked, and it wasn't coffee, but it was a high tain tea. And this migraine was just getting, it was persistent. And we when once he decided to stop that, the migraine persisted for a week, maybe 3 days or so after he stopped tea, after stop taking tea. But after that, he didn't have any migraines. And that was that was a beautiful discovery. um,
Yeah. Yeah, I was drinking I'm sorry, decaffeinated tea, green tea, and I stopped it before I went to True North for water fasting, and I had a headache, and I couldn't believe it, because
mm,
here I thought it was helping me, but I'm so sensitive that even the caffeine free was affecting me. And one other thing that I also should share, I don't know if you've tried this for sleep, is magnesium or Epsom salt baths. That's really also helpful. And I know we're getting to the top of the hour. And Kiko, if you're okay to keep going, and if anyone
yeah,
wants to, I would really like to get into one of your other topics here. Is it okay to keep going?
of course, yes. This is also something I've learned when I was living in France. Uh, and this is the information from Japan, actually. Living in Paris, I was having an issue with sleep, and was trying to improve as much as possible. And apparently, they've done the long-term research with people who had Alzheimer and dementia,
Mm.
and people who are above 60, usually 70, 80 years old, who had dementia. And this was a study on essential oil. And in France had a very good quality of essential oil. So you can just go to pharmacy, and many of them have a very good brand of essential oil. This is one of the famous brand called Pranarom, organic
Oh, Pranarum.
Pranarom.
Wonder
Yeah,
if you
you
can
can.
get that in the United States.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon in the States.
Oh.
This is another one that used to get. This is like a smaller
Oh, it's
company.
off the
Oh,
camera.
sorry.
Okay, let's see. What does that say? H and T, or is it T and H? I can't. Orange.
H&T. The
H and
company is,
T.
yeah,
Okay, and that's the brand name, H and T.
right, exactly. H&T. H&T is herbs and tradition. Herbs and tradition. Yeah. Anyway, you
Herbs
can
and
get
okay. So it's got herbs in it.
herbs, as in like mint or
Yes.
yeah. So those are the brands.
Oh no, Todd just put in the chat. Pranaram by H&T. No, Pranaram is one brand, and then H&T is another brand that she's showing. Just so
Exactly.
people can see in the chat, if you want to look that up, we're putting it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
So anyway, it doesn't matter. You can just buy like organic or non-pesticide brands. But Pranarum seems to be very popular. You can get it pretty much everywhere in the world. So I like, so in this research, apparently they've tried with people who has dementia, and this was like 2-3 years, minimum 2-3 years research with the same same group of people, and they had dementia that caused them not to be able to be independent. So they needed someone's help because they might be cooking, they might forget that they had stoves on. And what they did was the mix of essential oil. First is rosemary and lemon. This is lemon essential oil, and I mix with rosemary. So 2 to 1, 2 rosemary essential oil to 1 lemon essential oil. You mix it, and I just put it in a
like
essential oil bottle.
like a little container of some sort, like a little.
Right.
Okay, because
I,
you don't want to eat this, right?
Right. Yes, certain essential oil in France, you can use it as medicine, but yeah, I don't consume it. But this is just for aroma only. So I would just, add rosemary. This is lemon, but let's say rosemary, 2 drops, and then 1 drop of lemon.
Oh,
And
okay. Rosemary, 2 drops, and 1 drop of lemon. Okay. For
so, but
dementia.
yeah, I usually make a batch. So I might add 24 rosemary
Oh, wow.
and 12 lemon in well, like things like this. And
Okay.
then, yeah, and then I like to diffuse it in my diffuser.
So can you tell me, for people that are brand new to this, you shared the brand and you gave us one combination and you said we can mix it. What is a diffuser?
Any diffuser. So the one I have is from Muji. I think in the States you have Muji, Muji.
MUJI. Okay.
I know in California and New York they have it, but you should be able to get it online, Muji.com maybe.
Yeah. So I don't have one, but a diffuser is how you put it. Isn't it something that you put the oil into? Or I'm not sure. That's why I want you to explain.
Okay. Yeah. So diffuser is well, the kind of diffuser I use, there are different kind of diffuser. You can actually diffuse just oil, but I like the one with water. So so to moist the room,
Okay.
yeah. So you put water, and then in water, there are certain types of diffuser that you could add essential oil. So you can search on Amazon or wherever you want, and you just make sure that you can use essential oil, because certain kind of diffuser, it doesn't it asks you not to add anything else but water.
Oh, okay. So you want to make sure that you have one that's good for essential oils. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm a minimalist, and I don't like buying anything extra, and I want everything to be simple. So first, yeah, you can get rosemary, and you know what? Let's make it even simpler. If you have rosemary and lemon essential oil, that's great. But those of you who doesn't have that essential oil, before buying it, if you have rosemary in your garden or someone's garden, smell that in the morning, or pick it up the night before from someone's garden or your garden, and you smell it. You know, you just I wish I could have I prepared it. I have it right in front of me in my garden. You just take some branch off and you smell it, and that activates our brain for some reason. But to finish off on this research that they had shared this research on TV show in Japan, and this elderly people who had dementia, they were just smelling this blend of rosemary, this blend, and before going to sleep, it was lavender and sweet orange. And instead of using diffuser, because they have dementia, they just gave them a pendant. So they have a pendant with, I think it was like a wooden thing that when they touch somewhere warm, it just diffuse on it naturally. There's no, there's nothing, there's no electronic attached to it. So
I love that.
I think you should be able to find it on internet, or you could even make your own, make a bracelet with just the wood,
Okay.
a piece of wood, and put the essential, 2 drops of rosemary, 1 drop of lemon on that wood, and you'll be smelling from your heart.
So you want to have it here, not like a bracelet, because this is closer to your
Exactly.
senses. Okay.
Right.
What about topically? Do people use it topically where you put it directly on your skin?
Yeah, so it's recommended not to put it directly on your skin. I personally like doing it. I've tested and I've used it so many years and I don't have any issues. So what I do in the morning, because I'm lazy, I don't want to put the diffuser and I'll do all that thing. I have so many other things.
Okay.
So I make a mix and I just put 1 drop, because I've already mixed those 2, right? I just put 1 drop and then I do massage and then I just put it here.
Oh, on the back of the neck. Oh, that's lovely.
And then I just massage sometime into my scalp. And that's the first thing I do. It feels so good. Oh, it feels so fresh.
So that sounds amazing. So but you said that's what you do when you first wake up. So are there any favorite blends that you recommend or that you've tried for yourself that are really good for sleep? Let's talk about that.
Right. So that the research shows that those 2 that I mentioned, as soon as you wake up for 2 hours, you can continue smelling. And then 2 to 3 hours before going to sleep, there's another blend of lavender and sweet orange. This was actually sweet. This was a sweet orange. Yeah. So 2 drops, 2 to 1, lavender 2, sweet orange 1. So I would do the same mix, So I have a night blend and morning blend.
Oh.
And I keep it in a bottle like this. And again, I'm lazy, so I have the blend next to my bed. And before going to sleep, or as soon as I get on my bed, I just put it on my hand, and I just put it on my chest.
Wow. That's really great. I want to show you. I want to share. I have 3. That's all I have. And I don't have a lot of experience with this, which is why I thought that was great. 2 of these were given to me and one of them I bought on a whim. So I have this one It's called Stress Away. So I don't even know what's in it, and it's really hard to see. So, but I have that one. And then I have this one that I got. I went to Mexico to Rancho La Puerta, and they gave us a little kit in our room. And one of the items in it was this little bottle of essential oil. And oh, I'm sorry, this isn't even essential oil. It's a body oil. And it says it's lemongrass. So actually, I really only have two, and this is the only one I ever bought. I bought this on a retreat, and it's peppermint. And the reason I decided to buy the peppermint, because the very first time I ever tried any kind of essential oil was when I was at True North, and I was telling you earlier about when I got the headache, and from the green tea, and also from detoxing, because I was doing a water fast. On my second day, I did have a headache, but they gave me a little container. It was actually like what you would leave a urine sample with, but it was clean. It was a brand new one. And so you picture that little container with the lid, and they took cotton ball, a couple, like two, and they put it in there, and they put peppermint essential oil, infused it in the cotton ball, and then they gave it to me. And they said, whenever you're having a headache, open it and just breathe it a little bit. And it worked. And so when I saw this, I'm like, I didn't know anything about the brands. And I had heard you have to be careful because the brands, I think, are important. I got the peppermint, but I would really love to be able to expand my understanding. And I'm going to have to try your brands and the ones that you're talking about for sleep. So I'm going to have to order that.
Yeah, peppermint is amazing. And we were talking about digestion. And so sometimes accidentally you eat something heavy, you apply peppermint on your stomach here.
Like above the belly button?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That helps a lot. I mean, for me, when I couldn't be disciplined enough to eat well, then I would have like a block on my stomach. And if I have that kind of block, I would not be able to sleep. So if I were to apply that peppermint, that helps so much. And also for menstrual cycle, when I have pain, peppermint helps a lot.
And again, you just put it directly on the skin.
Right. Yeah. Make sure that, you have to make sure when you buy essential oil, there are many brands that make it look like this is pure essential oil. You have to look to see that it is pure essential oil and not mixed with different kind of chemicals.
And so those brands that you shared, you've checked, and those are reputable. Okay.
Yeah, Panarom is good. Yeah.
Panarom. Okay. So let's say people like me who are new to the idea of essential oils, and maybe they don't, I don't know how much they cost. Depending on where you live, I'm sure there's a range. But if you were just going to recommend somebody to start with just one or two for sleep, what two would you recommend? The one that you were talking about or a different one?
I honestly, I definitely recommend getting 4 essential oil: lavender, sweet orange for nighttime use, and rosemary and lemon. I do think that's a great investment. And another thing I do I just cleaned my room, and I like cleaning with these 2 brands, like rosemary and lemon. I just sprinkle on my wooden floor, and I clean it with water, and my whole kitchen and living room smells so good in the morning. And that's one way to make it fun to clean my room.
Oh, and now I'm thinking, when you bought the little container and you put the amount that you put, 1 to 2, depending on your recipe, you don't add any water or anything to that. That is just that. And then when you're doing your floor, you just put a few drops and then you clean it with that. That is great. So then you're really getting that smell and calming practice throughout.
Right. Yeah, you see, I love essential oil, so I have quite a
Oh my
few.
goodness, look at all those.
I have
Wow.
I have my own blend, and again, living in France, I had a great, access to quality of essential oil. But yeah, I want to close what I have was mentioning of those, you know, blends for at night and morning, is that they actually found, I don't know how many people were there, like about 10 people who had dementia over 2 years of 2 years period with close monitor. They all improved. Some people didn't. Most people, I think, except one person, they didn't have dementia within 2 3 years period. That's just
Wow.
amazing.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Now, nobody ended up putting anything in the chat, but Mona's here and I'm going to say hello and hello to
Hello.
anyone else. And this is so great. I want to ask you, um, so are there any other like calming practices for good night's sleep that you could add with the essential oils or the highlighter, like stretching or breathing techniques, journaling, like sound, anything that you like to incorporate at your nighttime ritual?
Ah, connect to yourself, being able to listen to your body, it's the most important thing. There are so many ways to improve our sleep, but you have to be able to listen to your body, because it doesn't, there's not one simple method that works for everybody.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And, I'll share two little things that I did also when that you could add into this. Um, when I was doing the candles and all of that, sometimes I would just wake up and my mind was so busy. I don't know what it was busy, it was just thinking and whatever. And so I would talk to my mind. I would talk to myself and I would say, Jennifer, it's bedtime and you're safe and you're loved. And then I would concentrate on being here right now. So I would say, how does the pillow feel? I would think, right? How does the pillow feel on my face? How does the sheet feel? What is the temperature in the room? Maybe I have the window open, maybe I have the ceiling fan. How does that feel? And really check in with myself about what is happening right now so that my mind can't be busy over here. It's going, oh, we're thinking about these things. And then I would also do breath work. I used to do, well, I say used to, I should do it again, box breathing, right? So if you're familiar with box breathing, or if you're not, I'll tell you, it's basically making the shape of a box. So you can inhale 4 times or 5 or 6, whatever number you choose, like you empty and you inhale to the count of 4, I'm going to do, and then you hold your breath for 4, and then you exhale for 4, and then you hold your breath for 4. And that really, if I just did that a few times and connected with where I am, I would be able to feel relaxed. I feel my shoulders go down and okay, I can sleep now. And I think that, that's just something that worked for me. And I did it for a long time. And finally, I didn't find that I needed to do it as much. One other thing is sometimes I would, and I do this a lot, I'll wake up and I'll have a song in my head, singing, and sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and that song that I heard on, in my car on the radio or whatever, or we played on one of the, solos or whatever, it's going and going and going, and I can't turn it off. Well, I said to myself, think of a different song. And I would think of a different song. And for whatever reason, that would help me stop that. And I could finally get back into sleep. So I wanted to share that with you.
My favorite song waking up in the morning, in my head, is James Brown. I forgot the name of the music, but it goes, I feel good. I feel
Oh,
good.
I
Da, da,
feel
da.
good.
Yeah,
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
yeah.
Knew that I could now.
Oh, that's great. I love this kind of music. I love, when I wake up in the morning, I have that in my head, like, oh, okay, that's gonna be a beautiful day.
Yes, I love that. So good. Right? And that's great. Well, Todd, earlier we said that you were going to put in the chat Kiko's, so people could get her book if they want to. And before we sign off and end here, I'm hoping that you could put that across the screen, because a lot of this information is in her beautiful book. And if people don't have it, if they missed out or they didn't get a chance to get it in the bundle, here you can see all of the areas to reach her. And I'm sure that's where your link tree, is that where they can find the book for sale?
I think so. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
I
yeah, of course. And you're so incredible. I just want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all this outstanding information. It's different, it's unique, and it's things that you can try or add in. I know I learned a lot, and I'm going to start practicing. I'm going to try the color therapy tonight. And you called it. I don't want to say it wrong, but it starts with an S. Suji.
Sujok.
Sujok. Sujok.
Yeah. Sujok.
Sujok. And people can look that up if you want to learn more about it, I'm sure. And I'm going to try that. And I am really looking to bring in more essential oils into my life. I'm going to start with the ones that you recommend. And I'm just wondering, of course, if anyone has any last questions for Kiko or for myself, put them in the chat. We really hope that this has been helpful for you. And Kiko, I want to ask, is there anything else that you think people should know about food or mindfulness or some of your products, or any techniques that you might want to add to help improve sleep?
Raw vegan. It's a miracle food for me, and I know it's not something everyone wants to hear, but to me that was the miracle food, and it's a miracle information that most people don't know until you try it for 30 days.
Yeah, okay. Now, when you say that to people, because you had such great experience with it healing you, I hear a couple things that maybe I could just, before we sign off, ask just this couple questions. People say, well, I'm hungry still. I can't do it because I'm hungry. Or the other one is, it's winter, which it's not for us right now, but in the case somebody's watching this in the future and it's too cold, or maybe where you are, it is winter. What would you say about those two things? Being hungry, it's hard, I can't eat enough, my jaw's sore, whatever. What would you say to someone so that they give it a fair chance?
Yeah, be gentle to yourself. You don't have to go. I think you should go gentle and introduce more and more raw vegan diet, and eliminate processed food as much as possible. Eat in a whole food, plant-based form. It's okay. Just go gentle, and you can be mindful of what you eat.
Yes. You know what?
And
yeah, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. I was going to cover the next one, that being cold.
Yeah, tell me.
Exercise during winter time. You want to make sure that you do move, and you have dehydrator also, to warm up your food during especially winter time. You can do even like a Vitamix. You can let it run for some time to make it into warm soup. So there are so many ways to do it, but go with your own pace. This is not a competition. It's this is one of the way for you to connect with your body and mind.
I love that. Thank you for allowing everybody to hear. Sometimes it's really important, even for myself, to hear, oh, right, I have permission to go slow and be gentle with myself. It's a good reminder. I tried about a year and a half ago, I tried to go raw. I did it for I I think 6 weeks. I was so hungry. I did it full on. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I could never do this. But now I'm trying again and I'm doing it slower and I'm doing really well. I'm not 100%, but I really am starting for the first time. And I never thought this would happen. I'm like, I even told my husband the other day, I am craving lettuce. Who knew? I'm like, okay, I think I need lettuce. Oh my gosh. So,
That's
anyways,
fantastic. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Congratulations.
And
You're doing amazing, Jennifer.
oh, thank you so much. You're a great inspiration, and I loved all that you shared. And with talking about heating up things, what is hot water or hot tea considered raw, or is that okay? Maybe if someone wants to drink, or do you want to really keep even the liquids down to the 115 degrees or less?
Yeah, so we need to relax on this diet, meaning, okay, even the people who claim themselves to be fully raw vegan, they eat cashew, they add cashew nuts in their dressing or their diet. Cashew is never raw. Maple syrup is never raw, but it's heavily in the raw vegan world. So that's one of the reasons you need to really, I mean, I'm saying for
Yes.
me as well, that you cannot be dogmatic, be gentle. Is this something that you want to consume? And yeah, I highly recommend checking on Chronometer because it's important to have enough calories per day when you go fully raw. And if you don't know what to eat, it's very easy to go under. I was shocked when I checked on Chronometer for the first time that my calorie was like 1500. No wonder I was hungry all the time.
Wow.
That's one of the reasons I have walnut pate and chia berry. It's an essential recipe for me as a raw vegan.
Wow, that's really important to hear. I was playing around with Chronometer the other day. So it's funny that you bring that up, but I don't have, it's a great tool. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have so much in my salad. How am I going to write all of that? But I love that you're sharing just to be gentle and that it's okay wherever you are to just do the best you can and see what works for you.
Yeah,
Um,
for Chronometer, I don't do it every day. And I have so many variation. I get so tired, but it's important to do it a few times so that you're getting certain vitamins, like essential vitamins, and also calorie. I think calorie is the most important things to check on Chronometer. Then once you do a few times, you kind of know, oh yeah, I'm satisfied. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I have 2,300 calories or whatever you need, depending on what you're doing for activities.
Yes, yes. And I also was reading the 80-10-10 book by Doug Graham. And, you know, it's good education. It teaches but you don't have to, like you're saying, you don't have to follow a strict thing. It's good when you're learning to have a practice to get an idea. But I've also learned that a lot of people in the raw world do things very differently.
Mhm.
Some people like the 80-10-10, which is 80% carbs, 10% protein, and 10% fat is his combination. Well, that doesn't work for everyone, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean they shouldn't or couldn't be raw, right? So I love everybody give yourself a hug and be gentle, right?
Exactly. Yeah, everyone's doing fantastic job. There's no failure. It's all learning, and it's okay. It's a beautiful journey wherever you are.
Yes, yes. And Core Scorpy says, thank you, Jennifer and Kiko. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, Kiko. I appreciate everyone joining us today. And we're wishing you like a wonderful, restful sleep night whenever that's time for you. But before you head off to bed, or if it's later in the day, I just want to remind you not to Don't forget to eat those greens, right? And give plants a chance, everyone. Thank you. And we are going to see you next time. Thank you again, Kiko.
Thank you, Jennifer and everyone. Bye bye.